Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I have some more resources from Common Sense Press. I already have a flip through on the plants that we've been using and we are absolutely loving it. Well, then they ended up sending me the human body and oceans. And so today I'm going to talk to you about oceans because it is summertime and I think that's a great time to either do plants or an ocean study. If you haven't seen my plants video, I'll put it down in the description, but otherwise, let's dive into this. So as I mentioned, Common Sense Press did send me these curriculums. We are really enjoying the plant one. And then when they told me that they have oceans and human body and insects is going to be coming out pretty soon, I jumped on being able to check these out, and we will definitely be using these. And I think we may start this one after the plants because it's summer. I think it's a great time to talk about oceans, or maybe you're going to be taking a trip to an ocean, all that kind of stuff. But these are very hands-on, and it is something that we are really enjoying. So I wanted to be sure and share this with you this summer so that if you are looking for an ocean theme as we're buying curriculums, I wanted to show you this. And I will definitely be doing a flip through on the human body as well because these lap books are just so fun. We have oceans here, and these are all set up very similar. So if you've used one, you're going to be pretty comfortable jumping into the next one because they just have the same setup and flow and easeability of using. And that is one of my favorite things, is how easy it is to use. You don't have to have a lot of pre-planning. It's great. So let's zoom in and look at our lessons. All right, lesson 1 is we're going to have a quick review, or maybe not review. We're going to have a quick lesson on planet Earth. Then we have lesson 2, the water and water cycle, oceanography, salt water and the ocean floor, ocean layers, life in the ocean / tides, life in tidal zones / estuaries, waves, current, shore life, crustaceans, types of fish, anemones, coral reefs, sharks and rays, marine reptiles, marine mammals, pinnipeds, and number 18 is resources and presentation. Coming over here, we have our introduction, how to use this on a multi-level approach. And that is something that I think is super cool. This is definitely family friendly as far as being able to use it with different levels. So it is set up for grades 1st through 6th. However, I could see where you could modify that a little bit on both sides, honestly. If you have a tiny little fish, which I just love how they put the little things, like for the plant, it's like a sprout and then you have a bloom. It's so cute. I love how they are doing that with the theme. But this little fish, when you get to an activity, is going to tell you it's the first level. It's for your non-reading or your early reading student. Then we have a little shark here, and that is your 2nd level. That's going to be a student that is a fluent reader, and it's designed mostly for like that 3rd to 4th grade range. And then we have the big giant whale, which is our 3rd level, a fluent reader, and usually applies to that 5th or 6th grade level. So you can decide, mix and match however you want. That's actually what we do a lot, depending on what it is, what the day is. We may do a mixture of them. Then we have vocabulary words that we are going to be discussing throughout the whole time. And we have graphic organizers. The graphic organizers are so fun. You learn these different little folds with the paper, and you're creating different little things with them. You have labs. And then down here, we have the things that you are going to need for the lesson. Let's zoom in super close here, so you can see how easy all of these things are to get. So one thing I really appreciate is that they are legitimately things you're going to have laying around your house. It's not things that are supposed to be laying around your house that you really have to end up going shopping for. Really, I don't think there's been hardly anything. Well, the plant thing, I did have to go get like a sweet potato. I didn't have a sweet potato just laying around the house. But this one, I really do have everything in my house. I don't have to go buy anything with this set whatsoever. All right, then we have students will need a material packet, and that is what this is right here. It is a thick cardstock that is stapled together. Really, you could take these staples out, put this in a binder of some kind, and make it super easy to get all of these things out. And I think I will do that with this one, is I'm going to go ahead and take these staples out and I'm going to hole punch it. That way I can easily get each page out of it without having to rip it beforehand. Now, how you are going to use this book is it is divided into 18 3-day weeks, and we have found that a lot of times we actually end up doing 2 days. We do 2-day weeks, but we do all 3 lessons at once with our plant study. Now, this one could be a little bit different, but days 1 and 2 introduce the content and the vocabulary that is needed. And then the lessons are scripted, which is really, really nice. You have experiment time, and then on day 3, students will have opportunities to explore and further investigate the subject matter covered during the week. So a lot of these we actually just go ahead and tie in with our other day because we do a block schedule. I'll put that right here just in case you're interested. And that, a block loop schedule actually, and that means we spend more time each week on certain subjects. So we may spend 2 hours on science 2 days a week where we don't split it so often. How that works is we end up having a larger chunk of time on one day versus splitting it amongst many other days. So let's jump to like a middle lesson here. Lesson 5. Okay, we have ocean layers. Here is the materials that you are going to need. This is the section that you are going to be reading to your student. The bolded words are your vocabulary words, and then you see that we have some images here. So we're going to be looking at the first 2 zones on this lesson day here. Has all of the information that you are going to need, and then we are going to discovering the ocean book. So it prompts us right here to hand out student page 5, Day 1, Discovering the Ocean, and that is going to be over here. So we have Lesson 5, Day 1, 5A, and you see that we have a little image here of the ocean layers, which I'm showing that to you upside down. There's Lesson 6, Day 2 right there. But with that, we have the sunlight zone, and so for your beginner, you're going to color the picture of plants and animals that thrive in the sunlit zone. Draw the sun rays hitting the ocean surface. Or you can step it up and you can color the pictures, then you can write 1 or 2 facts about the sunlit zone, and it even gives you an example of what you could write there. Or for your most advanced, you can write a few sentences and describe the conditions of the sunlight zone. Then they're going to do the same thing for the twilight zone. Next, it says hand out lab graphics page 2 of your lab book. That's over here again. In the very beginning of your student materials packet, you will have these lab graphic pages. So it says lab graphic page 2 right here. And so you will find those images that you need for lesson number 5. So let's see. So it says hand out the lab graphics page 2 right here. Lab graphics page 2, you can see the different things. And here you can see that it starts at the bottom of the page, so you'll be cutting out and going forward. So sunlight lab 5.1, water pressure lab 5.2. Then we have our sunlight lab, so that goes with that section right here. And you are going to need the lab book, the graphics page, and a sheet of paper with a bowl. It gives you all of the things that you're going to need with that activity. Moving on to day 2, we have our little box here that has all of the materials, the vocabulary words down here, and then we're going to do a quick review of the layers of the ocean from our last lesson. We're talking about the dark zone here, and then we continue on where we are talking about the abyss zone and trenches. We're going to come back to our Discovering the Ocean book, and we are going to label the last 3 sections. So the book that we created on the first day, we're going to come back here where we have our 3 little options again for depending on what student is using this book. You're going to do the same thing for the dark zone, the abyss, and the trenches. So again, depending on what you've done that day, maybe they don't want to color, maybe you're just going to have them write a sentence. You can decide on what you want to do with that. The next lab for day 2 is the water pressure in the ocean, where we are going to need our lab book, our lab graphics, which again I showed you. I'll show you one more time here. Coming to our little graphic page, you can see we would have used that the day before. Here's our lab graphic for day 2. Tells you what to do, what you're gonna need, questions to ask, how to describe different things. And then day 3 is choose 1 or more activities to complete. So usually we will do 1 or 2 of these actually. We enjoy these a lot. And so a lot of times we will do more than 1 of these. Other times we might just do 1. And then there's always a little something at the very end. Here we have a little C snippet right there before you go on to the next one. So it's very, very similar setup throughout the whole time. You have a day 1, you have a day 2, and then you have your day 3. And each little activity here will have the 3 different stages. So remember, the little fish is for your little ones, the big fish is for your older ones. That is the entire book. There's nothing that you're going to write in the teacher's notebook here. All of that is just for you to reuse however many times that you need. And then this is the student material pack. These are your consumables. These are the things you're gonna cut up. These are the things you're gonna color and paste and make all sorts of fun diagrams. And we made a diorama. Really, really fun. At the very beginning here, you have your vocabulary words. So you have a word list for each week. You can cut these out, put them in a notebook, however you want to do that. Look them up, have them write them, whatever you think works best for you. And that has all the lessons, all the days already ready for you to add to your books. Then we have all of our lab graphic pages, which goes through every single lesson. And then we come to our lesson of where we are discovering the oceans. So we have lesson 1, day 1, and each one has little marks where if you need to glue it, it tells you how to glue it. It has all the instructions that you need inside this. So as I said, we have really, really enjoyed our plants, and I'm excited to use all of them. But I do think that we may jump into this one this summer, so that it just seems like a great time to dive into the oceans. So if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'll link the previous video in the description, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.